For our entire history, there's been one single trait that's put us at the top of the food chain. It's the source of all our power, our creativity, our dominance. But right now, we are on the verge of creating something that could challenge all of that, something that might just be our final invention.
Just think about that for a second. For a quarter of a million years, we, Homo sapiens, have been the undisputed champions of intelligence on this planet. It's our superpower. It's what let us build civilizations, fly to the moon, and basically reshape the world to fit our needs. Literally everything we've ever done comes from this one unique advantage.
So, what happens if we're building a successor? What if that very same tool that gave us all this control is about to be handed over to something new, something artificial? That's really the core question we're going to dig into. Okay, so to really get where we're going with this, we've got to first look back at where we came from. Because the story of intelligence, it isn't some new thing. It's been a slow, painstaking climb that took over 500 million years.
First things first, let's just be clear on what we're even talking about when we say intelligence. At its core, it's pretty simple. It's the ability to process the world around you and then use that information to solve problems. It is the ultimate toolkit for survival.
Now, what's just wild about this is the sheer scale of time involved. I mean, it all started 500 million years ago with the tiny little nerve clusters and flatworms. And for hundreds of millions of years, progress was just glacial. It really wasn't until our more recent ancestors, like Homo erectus, that brains started to do something brand new, actually transforming the world.
And this, right here, this is the key difference. See, most animals have what you'd call narrow intelligence. It's like a screwdriver. It's perfectly designed for one specific job. But human intelligence? That's a multi-tool. It's capable of tackling almost any problem you can throw at it. And that general intelligence is what completely changed the game for us.
So here's the kicker. With general intelligence, we could suddenly preserve and build on what we learned. Think agriculture, writing, science. Progress just started to accelerate, feeding on itself, leading directly to this complex, high-tech world we all live in today.
And that brings us to a second parallel evolutionary track, one that's not biological at all, but technological. The idea is actually pretty simple. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is really just us trying to copy our own best trick, problem solving, but doing it with code and silicon instead of neurons and biology. Okay, now check this out. Compare this timeline to the biological one we just looked at. What took nature 500 million years, we've kickstarted in less than a single century. From really simple chatbots to world champion chess programs, the pace of AI's evolution is just breathtaking. For a long time, though, AI was, it was impressive, but it was also super limited. It was the ultimate example of narrow intelligence. Deep Blue could beat any human at chess, sure, but it couldn't do anything else. It was like a genius bee, brilliant at its one job and completely useless outside of it. But then, everything changed. We stopped just telling computers exactly what to do step by step, and instead, we figured out how to make them teach themselves. This was the moment everything pivoted. Now, this is a huge oversimplification, but the basic process goes something like this. You build a massive, brain-like network, you feed it a library of information bigger than any human could ever possibly read, and then you kind of just let it loose. You let it figure out the patterns and get better all by itself.
And here's the thing that's, it's both kind of weird and a little bit scary. We don't always know how these systems are getting so good. We know what we put in, and we can see the incredible results that come out, but the process in the middle is often a complete mystery, a powerful but totally opaque black box.
Now get this. All of this stuff we've talked about so far, from the chessbots to ChatGPT, it's still just a more advanced version of that narrow intelligence. But the real goal for a lot of researchers is to take the next absolutely enormous leap up that intelligence ladder. So what if we could build an AI that wasn't just a specialized tool, but a multi-tool, just like us? An artificial intelligence with the same kind of flexible general problem-solving ability that we have. Well, that's the whole idea behind artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
And this is where things start to get completely wild. Our minds are amazing, but they're stuck inside our biology. We get tired, we think at a certain speed, and there's only one of us per body. In AGI, it wouldn't have any of those limits. It's just software. I mean, to really wrap your head around that, just imagine a single AGI that's as smart as a regular human scientist.
Now imagine you can just copy and paste it a million times. Suddenly you have a million scientists working 24/7, no sleep, thinking 10 times faster than us, all focused on one problem. The kind of progress you could make it's just staggering.
So what could an army of minds like that actually do? Well, the list sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Curing aging and cancer, fixing climate change, limitless clean energy, ending poverty. They could potentially solve the biggest challenges humanity has ever faced. But okay, let's take this one step further. What happens when an AGI, an artificial intelligence researcher in its own right, starts working on the problem of creating a better AI? Well, that could kick off a feedback loop. A smarter AI builds an even smarter AI, which builds an even smarter one after that, and on, possibly in a very short amount of time. And the result could be a super intelligence, an intellect so far beyond ours that, as this quote says, we look about as smart as a squirrel by comparison.
And that brings us to the final and honestly the most profound part of this whole story. Creating something that is vastly more intelligent than we are presents humanity with what might just be its ultimate choice.
I mean, the stakes just could not be higher. On one hand, a superintelligence that's aligned with our values could solve all of our problems. It could lead to a future of unimaginable prosperity. But on the other hand, one that isn't aligned with us could lead to our end. It's a totally binary outcome. Either we get utopia or oblivion. And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi fantasy. This is happening right now, today. The biggest, most powerful companies on Earth are in an all-out race to build this. We are running at full speed towards this future, for better or for worse. So really, the big question isn't if this is all going to happen. It's, are we ready for what comes next?